ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. Yari Satsangati, thank you for joining us again for our question and answer session. So we had our third session on Sunday morning, and we had quite a lot of questions coming up. So for a lot of people, this is all new information. Generally, when we go to the Gurdwara Sahib, we don't hear much about Dragun and Maya and Jotapad. So it's completely normal, and in fact it's encouraged to ask questions and try to understand this aspect of Maya that Maharaj talks about in Gurbani, because we need to understand that. We need to understand our own mind. So I'm going to ask Darshan Benji to unmute, and we also have a special guest, which is by Ramanpreet Singh. And they're very knowledgeable Guru Sikh, very experienced in terms of their Simran Abhyas. So they're also going to be joining us and will be helping us to answer some of those questions. So thank you to Susan Benji, who's managed to collate a lot of the questions through the WhatsApp group. So we'll be going off of there. But if anybody does have a question that they want to ask, feel free to unmute yourself or add to the chat, and we'll just see how many we can get through. So, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, by Ramanpreet Singh and by Benji Darshan Kaur.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you to the Sad Sangat too. So we're just going to jump, I think, straight into the questions. Is that right, Benji?
Anji, shall we go through? And we've got quite a few questions, Sangatji, which is very encouraging, very positive, because with Guru Sahib's Kirpa, we're all thirsting to kind of move forward on this spiritual journey and path. And part of that is, you know, as we're doing our Simran Abhyas and listening to the Gatha, questions arise. And, you know, it's a really important part of the process. So we're going to go question by question, and also Sangatji, feel free to add more questions during this call as well, and we'll try our best to answer them. And also feel free to unmute yourselves as well if you would like to speak, and we can also have a conversation. So the first question we're going to I'm going to ask Ramanpreet Singh to answer is, when we are sleeping, which hut are we spending our swas in?
Hanji, Vaheguru Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. So if I understand it correctly, so when we are sleeping, which hut we are on, it depends. That's a question, right?
Hanji.
Hanji. So there are many huts. There are 14 huts in total. 14 pavna di gall hui hai. But we talk about mostly Tragun Mayas, so 3 huts primarily, which is Rajogun, Tamogun, and Satogun. These are the high level, but then there are beneath them there are many, like Tamogun is connected with the Patal Lok. 7 loks are just in Tamogun, right? But depending upon what was our last thought, that's why Guru Sahib blessed us with the Suhela Bani. Suhela literally means that we are singing the praises. So recommendation is always, when you sleep in the night, do a Suhela Sahib and then do the Simran. When you do Suhela Sahib and Simran and then you sleep in Simran, then most of the times, if your mind was wherever the mind was at the last moment, that's where you're going to be, right? So if you are doing Simran and you were in Sahaj, you are probably going to cross all these 3 huts and you're going to go in the Chautha Pad. Divas Raat Dai Daya Khele Sagal Jagat. That's a game, right? In the night time, we actually go to the lap of Vaheguru. So, but if we are watching movies and our last moment is like social media or doing something, whatever, depending upon whether you are stressed out, whether you are doing something tamoguni, kam krodh, something like that. So that's what you're going to get into. You're going to fall in Maya. We are supposed to actually cross this border. This border, as in these above these 9 doors, these eyebrows, we are supposed to cross this actually every day. But these doots, 5 doots, panch pehrua dar mein rehte. So they stay in this dar, in this here, and they watch you, right? If you have a naam, it's like a visa. If you have a naam, as in a visa, you will cross there. They can't touch you. But if you don't have a naam, they are going to hold you there, and they're going to push you back into the either Rajagun or Tamogun, depending upon, even in Sattvagun for that matter, depending upon what thoughts you had. I'll give you some more examples. For example, even if you are thinking good things, you were thinking of helping people, donating money, and all that stuff, then what does that mean? That means you are in Sattvagun. You have compassion, you're helping people, and all that stuff. But that is still a Maya, because Maharaj says, Punadaan jo beejte sab dharam rai ko jaye. As in anything, even the donations, if you are doing it without a naam, then that also is still a part of Maya. Because Maharaj says, Satgur ki seva safal hai, je ko kare chit laye. What does that mean? That even if we are doing the seva, we should think, na hum kiya, na karenge, na kar sake Shri. That I cannot do anything. It's God, Allah, Vaheguru, Ram, whatever you want to say, is enabling us to do that. We have nothing in our control. Anything good which we do, he's making us doing that. So that's how we should do the seva also. Then if we have those kind of thing, that Vaheguruji is using me for his seva, right? Then obviously you will cross this, and you will cross this, and hopefully you will sit there, which is called sun sahaj. That's where, which are true house, satgur te paye vichara sun samad sache karbara. But if we are doing anything out of ego, even if we were doing a good thing, then you fall down in the patar lok, down there, below, down there, and you might have very different kind of a dreams and all that stuff, worldly dreams and all. Now, this is a very detailed. I can go for whole lecture on that. Sorry about that, but the thing is, the dreams are of different types. Sometimes, if it's very closed one in your family or in the friend circle, relatives, who is no longer there, and they know that you do Simran and you are walking on the spiritual path, they will try to contact you. So you might see them, you might meet them in a place which is actually just on the Dar court. It's neither a Devlok properly, but it's just like on the Dar, right? You are just sitting on the Dar. We listen to that, right? We read the Gurbani, so dar keha, so kar keha, jitabai sarv sumale. You are just Dar on the Dar. And at the Dar, they will catch you. They will catch you there, and they will try to ask you questions. If you are awake, as in if your mind is awake, then they will try to seek help from you, right? um Recommendation is, because we all have like we have more attachment with our relatives and friends. Sometimes we will do ardas, and I've done that in the past. Or sometimes we'll do the simran, but recommendation is, don't do anything. Just be there, and just, it is also a part of Maya. Let it go, because Vaheguruji knows what he needs to do. If Vaheguruji needs to help them, he will help them, but they get a chance to approach people. Now, a lot of Gurmukhs, sants, and all, they actually do their ardas, they do Simran with them. What happens with that is, they get a chance to move forward wherever the destiny is, meaning destiny as in wherever their karams are, good karams are, whether they're going to get a human birth or whether they are going to pass through whatever that situation might be. But their bad karams, they will come on them. So that's why you have seen a lot of saints in Punjab. Their face is like a little bit of problematic and all, meaning they have some ulcers or something on their face, or they have some bumaria and all that stuff. A lot of times what has happened is that they have taken all the karams from the sangat to them. So it's highly recommended that if you want to help your friends and family, do the sangat with them when they are alive. So if you want to help your parents, your kids, your relatives, your friends, Encourage them to come to the Sangat while they are alive. Because remember that Maharaj has taught us, Moya jitkar jaiye tit jeevtya marmar. Where you have to go after your death, you need to learn that while you're alive. Because once this physical body is no longer there, you have no control over it, right? That's why Maharaj says, Pai prapat manuk dehuriya, Gobind milan ki eh teri bariya. So we have to live our life as per that my purpose of my life is to meet God, to meet Allah, to meet Vaigu, to meet Ram, whatever you want to say. It's one and the same thing. So that is the purpose. And we have to remember that every moment of our life, while you are working, whatever you're doing. So that's why it's highly recommended while you sleep, you do your Suhela Sahib Bani, or you just do Simran. Even if you don't have a Kant Bani, that's fine. You can do it over the Gutka. If you can't do that also, bare minimum, just do very sad Simran. And don't do fast Simran. You will not be able to sleep at that time. Like, what? Guru, why, Guru, and surrender. Surrender at that time, and you will sleep. You'll go in Sahaj. It will be beautiful experience. Every night will be beautiful. And sometimes, and I have done this experiments with my own kids, and you can do if you have younger kids, like babies and all, even 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. When you will do the Simran with them, you will see this experiment working for you practically. When they will wake up in the middle of the night, they'll be doing the Simran, these kids. So just if we get into that habit of doing Simran with our kids and we do ourselves, our whole night will be in the charan of Vaiguru. Everything will be accounted. All the time will be accounted as a as the purpose of our life towards the Naam. We'll get a reward in the form of a Naam from Vaiguru Sache Pasha, if that makes sense. I'll try to make it short. Sorry. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Professor. I'm going to just go through the questions one by one. When we do Sangat, like the Sikh meditation course, or read Gurbani or listen to Katha and Kirtan, which hut is that?
When we are, depends again, if somebody's present there, as in when I say present, as in mind is present. If mind is doing the Simran, mind is listening to the Katha, listening to the Gyan, we are leaving the Maya. We are above the Trigun Maya then, definitely. But if we are distracted, we are also looking at our phone, or we are doing some work also. Now it depends. Sometimes in, like, let's say a portion of 5 minutes, maybe whatever you were doing, you were getting disconnected, then you are back to the tin gun in the three hearts, depending upon your thoughts. But if you are totally focused, right, listening to the katha, listening to you have actually, and that's why sometimes people, when they listen to the kirtan, when they listen to the bani, they cry, they get a berag out of it. That means they are they're leaving their Tragun Maya, because Maharaj Gin Gurbani says, Bin Berag Chutas Nahi Maya. That means they are leaving the Maya at that time. While listening to the Katha also, while reading the Gurbani also, while listening to Kirtan also, they'll start leaving this physical, because they will understand this life is nothing. This physical life is nothing. It has no value. The things which are around me, which I'm doing, has no value. I just have to live it to attain a purpose of my life, if that makes sense.
We've got some questions about sun, Paisa. So
Yeah.
in regards to the different types of sleep, somebody's asked, can you explain the difference between drifting into sleep and sun? And another just related questions, how do we know when we're going into sun? And when we're doing Simran and going into sleep, how do we know that it's, if it's not sun, is that Gal trying to stop us from doing Simran?
No, it's not so simple, but because, okay, I'll try to explain it. Most of the time, when you will go in sun, and there are exceptions to this rule also. Most of the times when you are in sun, when you will come out of the sun, you will be energetic, you will be fresh. It's just like a sound sleep, right? You will feel very good. You will not be irritated. that means you went into the sun. But remember, there are four different kinds of sun which Maharaj talks about. Now, the sun where we need to go will slowly go, but first nishani is that you will sleep, you will be in the deep sleep, you will not remember anything. There will be nothing, there will be no dreams. It is a kind of a stage where nothingness is there, just a peace, just a sahaj, right? Now, the exception to that rule, before I go to the for Chauthi Sun, the ultimate Sun, talk about the ultimate Sun. Well, the exception to that rule is sometimes it's like, you know, and you have to explain this to your family also, right? Because to your wife, to your husband, to your kids, that if you are actually listening to the Shabad and then going to the Sun, you're probably going to a different, all different level. When I say Shabad, I'm talking about the sound or the voice of Vaheguru, right? So if you have already attained that stage, you have to tell your family and all that nobody should touch you also at that time. No, not even a small touch also. That can be really problematic when you're sleeping, right? That's why a lot of gurmukhs, they don't even sleep on the bed in the night, right? Because the all the histories, and this is among all, it doesn't have to matter. It is not about the religion. Anybody who has walked on the spiritual path, the night time was the time to do the bhakti, to connect with Vaheguru, right? So these days things are actually a lot more easier in Kali Yuga, right? I always recommend everybody to buy a recliner or something, and you sit on a recliner, and if you feel like a little bit, going to the sun, make sure you are on the recliner, your backrest is there, your face is up and all, right? And then when you will go to the sun, nobody will be able to disturb you and all, because you need that place. The night is for doing the bhakti. Because what happens is, if you have gone in the sun and somebody touches you, what is happening? You are coming back to your body. When I say you, as in your mind is coming back to your body. Your soul is still there, as in your atma is still in your body. It never leaves. A lot of people have this palekha param, that they, because there's so many videos. Oh, I see a cord, silver cord when I leave my body and all. At least I have never seen any silver cord. So if somebody has actually seen it, I don't know, but at least I have not, because your mind leaves the body. And when somebody touches you at that point of time, mind is not coming back immediately. There might be a shaking in the body, and people will say there is a seizure happening, because they're the same symptoms, very similar symptoms like epilepsy, right? And some people will, that's why you have to talk with your friends, or family members who live with you in the same house, not to touch you. And at that point of time, when you are going to the sun, right? um, you will not have a doubt when you will go to the sun, because you will go to so deep sun, especially the chauthi sun, that even if somebody, try to move you and all, immediately you are not going to come back. It's going to take a lot of time. Might be little bit of a chatke will be there, right? The moment will be there, but your mind will still not come back. It takes long time. Sometimes it can take an hour or something for a gurmukh's mind to come back, if it is in deep sun. But if it's a temporary, it's, you're not fully there, Punjabi jaise कहने खुब्बियां nahi, it's not yet fully there, but little bit you are in the dar and you're going to the sun, then you'll come back pretty fast. But again, it will be still a problematic, right? Now when you come back on your own, when Vaiguruji send you back, it's a beautiful experience. You are in bliss. You don't feel like talking with anybody. You want to stay in that state, and you'll be very happy. And even if you want to talk, you will forget about all the good bad things which has happened to you. That's why going meditation is not just meeting Vaheguru. Overall your lifestyle will change. You will have sahaj. Even you will do good in the work life also. There will be total work life balance. If you are in sports, you'll be doing good, because you will be in touch with Vaheguru all the time. I'm not going to talk about Chothi soon much, right now, but just a little bit high level understanding. In Chauthi Sun, your mind is fully awake, as in your body is asleep, mind is awake, right? And you are at a place which is your house, which Maharaj says, Satgur te paye vichara, sun samad sache karbara. You are in your house. You might have a prakash. When I say prakash, light, a jyot, it is not the same. That jyot is aval Allah noor upaya kudrat ke sabande. That noor of Allah, that noor of Vaiguru, that Atam Ram, that jyot, that light sab mein jyot jyot hai, so it is the chanan sab mein chanan hue. It is to very, again, I don't want you to get into the thoughts or thinking about how that jyot is. Just to give you high level, it's like if you have gone to the Darbar Sahib, or if you have gone to a beach in the evening time, when there is a little bit, when the moon is coming up and sun is setting, you have such a lustrous kind of a lishkara, si Punjabi ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, on the beach. If you look around, it's so beautiful. That kind of a experience you might have. So that means you are, and when you'll come out, that'll be great. So Maharaj has mentioned about the char suns, right? Where first sun, antar sunnan, bahar sunnan, the first two suns become one. And on the third sun, you start hearing the Shabad, the voice of Vaiguru. And on the chauthi sun, there is no sound also. You have a prakash, and you are surrounded with that prakash, which I just mentioned. Very similar kind of an experience. This cannot be explained. You have to experience yourself. I hope that answers your question. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
And we've had some messages. But Benji, I think, is asking, I've had multiple flashing images of people I don't know. I can't see them, like a really fast slideshow that goes on for a minute. Is this past connections? Second part of her question, I also feel that when I have woken up from what I think is sun, I feel as though I've been on a journey far away, but I don't know where I went nor what happened. Just the sensations that I've been away somewhere, not here.
Yes, yes. And this is, we have to be very, very careful about it, because we also hear about, past life regressions and all that stuff. And this all happens. But I always do a benti to everybody. There is a reason why our previous memories are shut down when we are born. Most of us will not remember our previous memories. I'll say, I mean, I don't know. I don't know a single person who remembers their previous when they're born. Maybe there are some cases we hear on the internet and all. But there is a reason. Because Vaheguruji don't want you to think about that. And when we are doing Simran, when we are especially going to the Sun, that is the testing which will happen. Right? And that's why I was talking about the dead people approaching you, right? Maybe your relatives and friends, or from your previous words, people will approach you, or you will just see, because everything is stored in the Akash Tat. Sun Galla Akash Ki. Right? I will not use the second line yet, because that means a totally different thing. Sun Galla Akash Ki. Everything is, and the Hindus say it Akashic records, which is the same thing. Everything is stored in your Akash Tat. But remember, all these five Tats are still a Maya. Five Tats as in five elements: air, water, earth, fire, sky. That means you're still in Trigun Maya. Where we have to go is Daswa Akash, the 10th Akash. Man Chadya, Daswe Akash. That's the Nishani of the Gurmukh. Gurmukhs go beyond that, right? But if you get stuck in the Akash, you will not even see your previous words. If you start focusing on that Akash Tat, which is I think it's a third or fourth chakra. I can confirm it, because again, we have to go across all these chakras, right? When you get stuck in these chakras, or maybe a fifth chakra, so Akash Tat, when you stuck there, you will not be, you will just not see just your previous thing. You can even see other people's stuff also. If you put a dhyan, everything is stored. Even if, for example, since we all are sons and daughters of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, right? If you want to see itihas, like of Guru Nanak Dev Ji or Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, if you have a lot of curiosity about it, you start doing Tan Guru Nanak, Tan Guru Nanak, Tan Guru Nanak. And when you're doing Simran, don't bring any image because these images are all false, right? But if you just have your surti, your focus, always thinking about Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and you have a thought in your mind that I want to see the udasis of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you will be able to see that. Not immediately, it will take some time, multiple tries, you might be able. But again, that is not our destination. Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't wanted us to see that. Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't wanted us to see our previous births. Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't wanted us to see other people's births. That's still a riddhiyan siddhiyan. You will get siddhis. Rid siddh sab moh hai. Naam na vasai man aaye. Naam is the only destination which we have, right? Then that is available on the 10th Akash in that sun. So our destination should be always, when you see that, it will be very lucrative. You will like it also. You'll be amazed with those things because there's so many things. Remember, there are 14 pavans, 14 lok. 7 loks are in the Akash, right? But we have to go to the Daswa Akash, the 10th Akash, above all these, which we call it a Sachkhand also, which is also here. It's all here. But it's depending upon our surt, our focus, where we have to go. Hope that answers your question. I'll keep it short. Sorry.
Thank you.
Vaheguru.
And
Sorry, I just wanted to just clarify a little bit. Is, whenever we see any of those images, whatever it is, it's best not to focus on it. Just come back to the Simran. So, like Baisab is saying, so yeah, that was all I wanted to say. Is just best not to focus on.
Focus on the Shabad. If you listen to the Shabad, because if you're in Sun, obviously you'll not be able to do the Simran because you are above the Gurmantar, which when we do a job, that is still in Tragun, right? It is taking you out from there, right? So focus on the Shabad. You will hear the Shabad then. Focus on that Shabad. Find that Shabad. And thank you, Penji, actually, to start this conversation. So where a long time back, right, I was scared of doing Simran because I used to sit on the Simran after some time and my body used to come out, right? As in my mind used to come out. Sukham used to come out. My mind used to come. I started getting scared because it was all darkness. I felt like I'm dead, right? And then with the Gurmukh's Sangat and all, Gurmukhs told me, when this happens, don't try to go here and there. Listen to the Shabad. Listen to the Shabad, because when you will listen to the Shabad, you will be above the Maya. Otherwise, what is the difference between us and ghosts, right? Some people, focus on the Darbar Sahib. But you know what happens? They go to the Darbar Sahib Amritsar. They will actually go, as in their mind will actually go there in the present time. But what is the benefit of that going there, right? Our destination is to merge in one Vaheguru. Jiste upjya nanaka soi fir hua. We have to become from where we came to our own house. Otherwise, Maharaj says that you are just doing whatever the prets are doing, right? Kal mein pret jin naam na pachata. The definition of pret or a ghost is who has not recognized the naam. So we have to recognize that shabad, that naam. So whenever something like that happens, just keep this thought in your mind only for na, that I am only looking for Shabad, I am only looking for Naam. And just like Panji said, our destination is Naam Shabad. Vintud horje magana, chir dukha ke dukh, de naam santokhiya, utre man ki book. Hanji Vaheguru.
Vaheguru. Baji, somebody is asking, what if you have tinnitus already? How will you know that you hear the Anhad Shabad or if it's just tinnitus?
Again, I'm not a doctor, but what I can tell you, what you hear in tinnitus is not actually a Shabad, right? But a lot of times you're hearing a Shabad and doctors diagnose as a tinnitus, right? So how you know? Remember, when we hear a lot of Shabads, right now also a lot of people, maybe, a lot of sounds will be resonating inside you right now, also. But remember, where are we? We still have a thought about our physical body. We still know about our senses and all. So these shabads are there, but these shabads are of five elements. These panch chakra, these five elements below, these are the shabads coming from theirs. Panch parvan, panch pradhan, panche pave dargah man, panche sohe darajan, pancha ka gur ek dhyan. When these five sounds or multiple sounds become one sound, and the nishani for that is, the sign for that is, you will not be in your physical body. Your senses will not be, active. Physical senses will not be active. Outward senses will not be active. Your senses, your indriya will go inside, andar chale janiye. Meaning you will have no sense of your physical body. You will be in the saj avastha, in the peace avastha. That is the sound where you have to put a focus. That's called Sajtun. Tera Mukh Suhava Jio, Sajtun Bani, Anhad Bani, Sajtun. That's the place where you have to go. So if you think you have a tinnitus and all, if doctor has actually diagnosed it, and if you actually think about that, don't worry about listening to the Shabad. Just do Simran. Try to do Saskras Antargat Simran. More Antargat Simran. You will go to the Sun, and in the Sun, when you will hear the Shabad, that is the Shabad you want to focus on it. I hope that makes sense.
Anji. The one few questions around this same topic is a similar topic. So I'm going to just group them all together, which is that people are talking about struggling with day-to-day emotions that come up when we're living in our family life. So there's one person who's saying that they're struggling to control anger, starting to do the Simran, but still struggling to control the anger. Then there's somebody who says when other people, for example, family exclude you from family events, sometimes we get hurtful feelings come up. When I do the Simran, it helps to cope, but afterwards, still finding that the anger is coming back up. And another related is some days are negative. How do I rise above it? So mainly, those emotions that come up in family life, how do we overcome those? And I think a subtle question is that, will we ever get to a point where those emotions are not coming up so much?
Yeah. Very, very good question. And most of the people, especially everybody, but spiritual path, adhyatmak raste te jehde turde hai na, the ones who walk on this path, they recognize this problem. Everybody actually goes through this problem. The only difference is people start recognizing, why I'm doing meditation also, I'm doing Simran also, why I still get angry, why I still get hurt from other people's comments and all. That's why in Tan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj didn't just wrote Jap Vaheguru. There's a 14 and 30 angs of Gurbani, and this is the reason Maharaj says Gyan is very important. Gyan is very important. Because if we don't have a Gyan, then we'll not be able to put a Dhyan also, right? So it's very important we listen to the Kirtan. So this is the path which we should do, right? Gyan, Dhyan, Kirtan, whole day, and make a playlist of the Kirtan, the Shabads which you like, 4 5 Shabads. Keep on listening to them. And every time you see that anger is coming, start recognizing anger. It will happen when you will do more and more Simran. You will start knowing that anger is about to come. Catch that anger before it actually shows up with the gyan. That's why gyan is very important, as in the wisdom is very important of Gurbani Guru. Then no, I don't have to do that. That's useless. And it is difficult. Amen. And that's a path which we have to follow. The more gyan we will have, the more we will understand that it will be easier to overcome. But it will take time. It's a practice. That's why listening to the Kirtan, understanding Gurbani, Katha, very, very important. And remembering at that point of time, at those moments when somebody is saying hurtful things to you, when somebody is being angry with you, that's why it's very important that we, catch it before actually it comes on our head. And it is a slow process. More Simran you will do, more Katha you will listen, more Kirtan you will listen, you will be able to overcome faster. Just remember, it's a room full of dust from ages, from so many jugs. This gandh was there, this filth was there, and this room was closed. Now we opened this room and we started doing the cleaning. The dust is gonna come. More and more dust is gonna come before it actually gets clean. And it will get clean. The only way is Gurbani, Kirtan, Simran. Just do a rotation of that and slowly, slowly, and try to remember, have the tuks related to the Krodh. That Krodh is a Chandal, right? Remember that. Calm. This Ardas really works for me. Kam Krodh ar Lobh Moh Binas Jaye Ahamev Nanak Prabh Sharanagati Kar Prasad Gurudev. Thus repeat this Ardas 25, 30 times, 40 times, that these are these barriers meeting me to Vaheguru. So when we will do 25, 30, 40 times this ardas, when these things happen, mind will change. And again, remember one more thing. Learn from Kal. Kal is also made by Vaheguru. What does Kal do? When you are doing a Simran, it will give you the thoughts which will take you away from the Simran. You will not feel like doing Simran, or you will have thoughts. Use Kal. When you have a thought of anger, start worrying about something. Why I'm saying this? What you're doing is, for example, you're very angry and then you have to pay your bills. Start thinking about paying your bills. Now, what happened? You moved your mind from Tamogun to Rajogun. And once you go there to the Rajogun, start doing a Das Benti, listening to the Kirtan, because it is easier to go from Tamo to Rajo, Rajo to Sato, rather than directly from Tamogun to Satogun. Very difficult. If you have a sexual desire, if you have a growth, you may do a lot of Simran at that point. You will not be able to do Simran. You will not be able to do the Kirtan. Change your thought. That's what Kal is doing. Learn from Kal. It's changing your thought. Go from Tamo to Rajo and then from Rajo to Sattva, if it makes sense.
Auntie. Amandeep, Auntie, did you want to add anything? Oh, okay, Ji. This is really helpful, Sanji. I hope everybody is getting a lot of benefit from this. We're just going to continue to go through the questions. There are some private questions coming to me, and I might share those with Faisal afterwards, and he can respond directly. Okay, let's continue. So one Sangat member is asking that how do we get rid of that feeling of being left behind at work? So if you're not competitive anymore, you're trying not to go too deep into Rajogun, how do you get rid of the feeling that you're going to be left behind?
Gurbani Shabad is Sagal Shisht ke Panch Sikhdar Pagat Jana ke Pani Har. Sagal Shrist, as in this whole world, there are 5 Sardars, 5 leaders. Lust, greed, anger, attachment, ego, but they keep on changing their forms. They sometimes become Rajoguni, they sometimes become Sattoguni. Maharaj says, Pagat Jana ke Pani Har. They are servants. These 5 thieves, nothing to get scared of them. They are for you. Use them. Make them your servants. They were made your servants. They are the servants of the mind. What does that mean? When your mind is in sahaj, in peace, you will be able to perform well. Remember Char Padarth, this game. Penji, I think you have covered about the Char Padarth in this course.
No, we're going to do that. We just done Tragon actually last week.
Okay, yeah. So when Penji will cover the Char Padarth, right? There are Char Padarth. There are 4 things which have been given to you by Vaheguru. So it's like, for example, you go to a market, you are going there to buy something, right? And you are going to a grocery store, let's say. Went there to buy a bread. Now you saw so many things. Chocolates are there, the sodas are there, and so many things. You went there to buy a bread, but you started buying the sodas, you started buying the chocolates and all. You got distracted. Similarly, these Tragun Maya also, there are one thing in each gunas which you need to have it. But what happens is we start buying the other things. Now, Maharaj has given us one of the padarth as calm. The calm is not list there. Calm is kamana there, as in if the calm will not be there, then reproduction will not happen. Now, if somebody says, "Oh no, I don't want it," but Maharaj says, use it carefully. You have to be with your life partner, with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife, so that you can do that. But don't be lusty. Don't look around and all that stuff. So that's why I'm saying the gyan is very important. Similarly, for Rajagun, Maharaj says one of the padarth is earth, as in do good in your studies, good in sports, good in work. Be very focused on that. If you want to compete, compete with yourself. If you are, this is how you can actually get rid of a lot of things. Don't compete with others, compete with yourself. Set targets for yourself, right? If you, for example, for a student, if they are getting a B grade or something, make sure you get an A, and see how can you improve yourself further. Make yourself as your target, right? In work situation also, don't worry about other people. You see what were my mistakes, right? And in every job, everything you do work, you do sports, remember Vaheguru. Simar har karan karna. Any karan, anything, we have just remember Vaheguru with it. Your performance will be actually a lot more better in this world also, because these padarths which are given to you for to live in this world, so that you live here happily you perform your duties, and you meet Vaheguru. Maharaj Guru Nanak Dev Ji never told us to go to the jungles or go away from your family. Maharaj says, Tinni viche Maya Paya. Stay in Maya and meet Vaheguru. So that is the path of Gursikhi. I hope that answers the question.
Auntie. Thank you, Pastor. We have another question. Somebody saying how they're struggling to get up in the morning every day and feeling like I haven't even overcome sleep. What are the chances to even touch the sun? So that's one question.
You still sleep, right? So sleep well, right? So this is, don't be guilty, right? Amrit Vela is very important, very important. But if you are unable to cope up, that's fine. Whenever you get up, make sure you spend some time for doing Simran. Slowly try to sleep early. More earlier you will sleep, better chances are you're going to wake up early. Problem is, in the night we get so late. Oh, I understand if somebody has night shifts and other kind of jobs, that is a different case altogether. But for the ones who have a day job, it's, try to make sure that you sleep early, because earlier you will sleep, better you will wake up. But even if you are sleeping late and getting up late, make sure you get up couple of hours before you go to the work, or at least 1 hour before the work. Start from somewhere, 15 minutes of Simran, 20 minutes of Simran. I promise you, Maharaj is looking at all of us. He will do the kirpa. He will make sure, because he wants you to be happy. He wants you to be in Anand and bliss. There are 100% chances, not 99%, 100% chances you will meet Vaheguru. If somebody tells you you cannot meet Vaheguru, they are fooling you, or they are just doing pranks with you. I'm telling you, they have not met Vaheguru. They have not seen Vaheguru. Maharaj is Dayalu. Maharaj is Kripalu. That's why we got this physical body. Don't be guilty about anything. Just move forward. We all have done mistakes, not just in this life, in previous mistakes, in previous births also. So keep on moving, right? Just look ahead, live in your present. Don't worry about your past, don't worry about your future. Just make sure you're present, you're remembering Vaheguru all the time. See, you are in the Sangat right now, you're already remembering Vaheguru. We're talking about Vaheguru, you're already remembering Vaheguru. That's great. Just be thankful. Thank you to Vaheguruji. Thank you for the Sangat, and you will definitely achieve the purpose of your life.
Auntie.
Vaheguru, just wanted to add just a couple of practical things from our own experience. As by sub saying, there's no point in feeling guilty about it. We all experience it at different times, but just some simple things, as Vaisab was explaining earlier, you know, that preparation for that morning Amrit Vela starts at bedtime. So just as Vaisab was explaining, if we're able to do a bit of Simran at bedtime, not be falling asleep, not be on our phones or watching things, then if you're having that sleep, that rest, you're going into sun, or even if your mind is in a place of Satugun, then you're more likely to wake up in that place and you're more likely to get up. So that's one thing. Another really simple thing, and it sounds really silly right now, but we've done this in Sangat where different Benjis and I, you know, we've made like a deal. Like at one point we were saying, like, if you don't get Amrit Villa, you have to pay £100 to charity. So think about the worst.
Pay it to me. I need
Hanji,
it.
Hanji. So one was think about the worst thing that you can imagine doing. So for me, one of those things I'm giving myself away here is cleaning the house. I really dislike cleaning the house. So I made this agreement with the Benji. My husband was present just to double check that if I don't wake up and do that Amrit Villa, I will have to clean the house that week. And that, I know it sounds really silly, but that actually really did work, and it continued to work. And there's two reasons we're going to wake up for Amrit Vela. One is fear, one is love. And at the beginning, sometimes we need that fear to get us there. You know, another time I was starting a new job and I was like, how am I going to cope with this job? And I knew actually the sleep that you get by going into sun is much more restful than the nighttime sleep that I was getting at the time. So I would make sure that I got up and I did that Amrit Vela Simran, and it got me through that job. Eventually, as you keep practicing this, as you start to experience that Simran, that peace, that bliss, that sun, then it becomes non-negotiable to you. Then you realize, and sometimes it takes not doing it to realize I'm not the same person I was when I do it. I'm so much more quick to anger. I'm so much more, you know, all those panchchor, kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar, jealousy, chugliya, ninda, all of that stuff. Once you've experienced doing it and how much of a better person you are and how better your relationships are, then you notice the difference when you don't do it. And again, that fear motivates you as well. One more thing that I would say is that closed eyes Simran is very, very important, because that's what's going to take us into sun, and we'd have that manda ishnan, that cleansing of the mind. But it's also really important where our mind is during the day, and sometimes we disregard that. As Paisab was saying, that gyan is very important, that knowledge, that wisdom that is saying, don't do ninda chugli, don't gossip about people, you know, don't get stuck in negative conversations. Because if we're doing that all day long with our eyes open, and now we sit down to do Simran, whether it's night or morning, all of that mail is going to come up in our mind, and it's much harder to connect. Whereas if we're being aware during the day, and some of those tips were mentioned just now, you know, whether it's bringing your mind back through katha, through kirtan, doing ardas, obviously doing the Simran out loud as well. If we're keeping our mind present throughout the day, then again, whether it's waking up in the morning or whether it's connecting during the Simran, that's going to be much, much easier. I always say it's like an analogy of a plate. If you leave that plate and the food, it gets stuck and it dries up, it's much more difficult to clean that plate in the morning. But if you soak it, or if you wash it every time, as soon as you use it, that becomes easier and easier. So just quickly, a couple more things. Again, that knowledge is really important. So if you're like me and you used to have an analytical mind, things like that last, just before you go to bed at night, just before you wake up in the morning, your brain waves are slowing down, you're releasing a hormone called melatonin. All of those things are going to help you to get into that state of sun, to get into that Simran and kill those vichar mare tare tare. So that's why Maharaj has given us those optimal times, Amrit Vela, Sachinao, Vadiyai Vichar. And yes, Amrit Vela can be any time, but Maharaj has also told us, I've forgotten the Shabd, Palke Ut Haranamati Ave. So waking up in the morning, because at that time, our thoughts are going to be a lot less. The brain waves are slower, the melatonin's high, and we're much more able to connect. We're not getting into Rajo Tamo straight away if we've allowed ourselves that time. Waheguru Ji.
Hanji, Benji, two other questions related. Benji is asking that if I do the Simran straight away, at Amrit Vela, I feel better connected if I'm a bit sleepy, but if I wake up fully after washing the face, then lots of thoughts and then get very exhausted. Is that okay? And then second thing is, would you recommend Nitnem or Simran first?
Has Paisa gone?
That's
Haji.
Hanji Paisa.
Ji Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Fateh. So follow Guru Ramdas Ji Pasha. Guru Satgur ka jo Sikh hai, pal ke ut har naam te. If you read the full Shabad, Mara says, Chade Divas Gurbani Gave, Bendiya Utdeya Har Naam Te Ave. Chade Divas as in when it's a daytime, as in when the sun has risen, right? Then you should read the Gurbani. Start if you okay, let me draw things for you if it is possible. In your mind, just be with me on this. When you wake up in the early in the morning, most of the times you are a little bit sleepy, more sahaj, there are very less thoughts. If you hear the Shabad, what you will experience is that your Shabad is very loud at that time. Don't waste much time. If there is a chair next to you, or keep a chair next to you, just directly go on the chair for 10-15 minutes, just listen to that Shabad, right? Now, if you are not at that situation, what you should do is immediately while you are getting up, start doing Simran. Why, Guru? Your morning chores, do that. If you are in a habit of taking a bath, then take a bath, start doing Simran, and then do the Simran for a couple of hours and all, or whatever the time you have stipulated for yourself, and then read the Gurbani. Don't start reading the Gurbani immediately when you wake up. Now, why I say that? The reason is Gurbani means you have to do vichar. You have to, your mind should think about it. What you have to take a wisdom of Guru. Gurbani kahe, sevak jan mane. That means you actually have to take a vichar. You actually have to think. However, the Simran is when we erase our thoughts. So that's very important to understand. When we wake up, our mind is in Sahaj, there are less thoughts. You don't want to bring more thoughts at that point of time. You want to stay in that situation and you have to wake up your mind. That is very important. That's why Maharaj says just before your work or while you're driving towards the work, it's actually better before your work. You, with the satkar, with the respect, you read the Gurbani, you do the Nitnem. But even if you don't get a time that your schedule is, we can understand the problems and all, then you're driving your car or wherever you're whatever you're doing, you're in the bus or something, put the earphones, start listening to the Gurbani. And Gurbani also, make sure you don't make it like yeah, two times of a speed or something, because I've seen people listening to the Gurbani, it's like more of a ritual rather than listening to the Gurbani. Ek onkar satnam karta purakh nirpau nirvair akal mut. No, let it soak in. Ek onkar satnam karta purakh nirpau. Do it in sahaj, then you will enjoy the Gurbani, then the mind will go in sahaj. Maybe five banis, maybe it takes you whole day, right? By the time you go, it's okay. While doing work, you can listen to it, right? But do it in saj. Gurbani requires a lot of saj because this is a gyan which you have to take in, right? Don't do it in hurry. And start with the Simran always, or listening to the Shabad always, and then do the Gurbani. That's a formula given to us by Guru Ramdas Sache Pasha. Hope that answers your question.
Benji, amazing. So I think we're coming to the end of the session. I don't know if Dasha Benji's gone or she's still there. Hanji, thank you so much, Baisa Bairambriju, That's been really informative. So we'll have our session again on Sunday. If there are more questions that come up, again, you can add them to the WhatsApp group, or you can ask them on the session on Sunday. And again, we've said it many, many times before, that this is not just about the wisdom, it's not just about the knowledge, it's about the doing. We need both the gyan and the dhyan. So we need that knowledge, but we need to be practicing the Simran as well to have a full understanding. So analogy that I just came across earlier is like, if you were sleeping right now, you're fast asleep, and I told you a story, and then you woke up and I asked you to repeat that story to me, you wouldn't be able to repeat it because you'd say, I don't know what you said because I was asleep. And in the same way, with our eyes open, our man is asleep. And we need to do that Simran to awaken our mind. Simar, simar, simar guru apna, soya man jagai. So as we do that Simran, as we awaken our mind to that Jyot, to Paramatma, to that Mantu Jyot Sarupa, that light within us, we will start to understand more and more. So I'm sure many people have had this experience where they've read Gurbani, they don't understand any of it. But then sometimes when their mind is pura ekagar, when their mind is fully focused, suddenly things will start to make sense. Another analogy is, if you want to learn Spanish and you go to Spain and you spend time with the people in Spain, you will pick it up much more quickly. So in the same way, if you're going into Sun, you're doing the Simran, you're going into Sun, all of this starts to make much more sense as you're doing the practical act of the Simran. Whereas when we're not doing it and we're just trying to obtain that knowledge, it gets quite difficult to understand. So that's been the Sangat's experiences over time, over that practice in particular. There's things that we've heard again and again, we didn't get them, but as our avastha develops, as our what's the avastha in Punjabi? As our spiritual stage develops, we will start to understand more and more. And as Baisab was saying, it's in the Gadni. So Maharaji has given us that hukam to wake up, or even during the day, sa simaro gobind, to keep bringing that mind back to the Simran again and again. And just like some of the comments, like Benji was saying, Maharaji's up, they're waking them up now. Something changed this week. Vaheguruji waking me up early in the morning to do Simran without the alarm. I don't even feel tired. You will find that as you do this, as you develop that love, whether it's through love, whether it's through fear, and you do that ardas, you make that effort, Maharaji will do that kirpa. Sabse no kirpal samale sahe sahe. They do that kirpa on everyone. And just the fact that we have this breath coming in, have this breath going out, shows us that that kirpa is there. So that's the benti. May Maharaj bless all of us to do that udam, to do that effort, to do that Simran. Deho sajan asi sariya, jo hove sahib syome. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.